Hello and welcome to our video. In this video, we're going to be taking a closer look at focus groups through the method of qualitative research.
I conduct qualitative research. Qualitative research sets out to describe or understand a certain group of people's everyday lives. Qualitative research is different from quantitative research in that quantitative research focuses on large subsets of populations, presents findings as numbers, and wants to apply their findings to whole populations. Qualitative research focuses on smaller groups of people in greater depth and allows those people to define what is important in their own lives. This type of research is concerned with smaller, everyday social topics within more specific populations, and is often richer and of greater depth than quantitative data, tending to focus on the social meaning and social interactions between people, their surroundings, and their broader social worlds. Some methods used by qualitative researchers include interviewing, ethnography, and focus groups. What are focus groups? Focus groups are groups of people that are engaged in a discussion about a particular social topic by the researcher to gather data for that study. Usually, each focus group is around 4 to 5 people. The researcher facilitates these discussions to control group dynamics and keep conversation on topic, but the purpose of focus groups is to listen and learn from participants as they talk and interact with each other through discussion and even debate. Focus groups are useful when not very much is known about a topic. Focus groups may be used before conducting interviews if the researcher is not familiar with a certain group's language or attitudes. Focus groups are also useful when it may make participants feel more comfortable. For example, vulnerable populations, such as young people, may feel more at ease in smaller peer groups than in one-on-one situations.
In epistemology is the study of knowing and overall how we know the world to be. Focus groups tend to align with either a standpoint or radical social constructionist epistemology. A standpoint epistemology sees knowledge as being relational, meaning that people will see things differently depending on their social position. In radical social constructionism, institutions such as UBC are seen to produce the very phenomenon they study. Focus groups are ideal for answering research questions that concern group dynamics and social interaction. Example questions include, how do team members of a church organization present themselves at church versus at school? How do vegans maintain social relationships and participate in social life with non-vegans? Focus groups should not be used when the topic at hand concerns delicate or very personal information, for example, sexual assault. Confidentiality cannot always be ensured in focus groups, as there are other people besides the researcher listening to information.
What kinds of data do focus groups produce? During focus groups, the researcher learns about the research topic by listening to discussion. Data is produced by the interactions between group members as they respond to, clarify, and even debate other members' thoughts and ideas. In this way, data is often spontaneous in the sense that new ideas and details arise from the conversation. Data from focus groups can be very narrative, as participants' comments, stories, and conversations can be analyzed. However, data can also be gathered from body language, pauses and silences, tone of voice, facial expressions, agreements and disagreements, the amount each member speaks, and more. For example, an awkward silence after a member's pro-pipeline comment may reveal more about how the other members feel about the topic rather than what people actually say. Focus groups are often confused as being larger qualitative interviews. However, focus groups and interviewing are very different in a number of ways. Firstly, focus group research takes information and data from the conversations themselves rather than individual participants. In academic terms, the focus group is the unit of analysis, the thing that is studied, whereas in qualitative interviewing, the comments and responses of individual participants are studied. Secondly, the researcher has a different role in focus groups as a facilitator and moderator of discussion, whereas an interviewer would have more control and a dominant role. Researchers in focus groups are meant to talk less and have a smaller impact on the discussion than an interviewer. The researcher must then steer the discussion if it is to slide off course, and to overall encourage participation and ideas from those who are speaking slightly less in comparison to others. Focus groups are said to be more naturalistic than interviews, as data is produced between participants themselves but less naturalistic than participant observation.
Following the death of Princess Diana, focus groups were conducted with women to analyze popular attitudes and representations towards Diana. The study uncovered several barriers to identifying with Princess Diana, including wealth gap and the irresponsible circumstances of her death. In 2003, focus groups were used to study perspectives of people living with schizophrenia in regards to social stigma. The use of focus groups revealed multiple dimensions of stigma against schizophrenic patients, both inside and outside the health institutions. Another focus group study explored masculinity and violence amongst young men's discussions about risk-taking and violence. The findings explained how acceptable masculinity is performed by these young men and how distinctions between legitimate and illegitimate violence is negotiated. In conclusion, we have learned that focus groups are a qualitative research method that analyzes information produced through group discussion. We hope that this video provided some insight into qualitative research and different ways to apply it. Thank you for watching.